Hello, Assalamualaikum, and a very good afternoon to everyone. How are you all today? Apa khabar kepada semua pelajar dan kepada semua yang menyertai program kami pada hari ini? Saya harap semua baik ya. Okay, so thank you for joining us for our third session for Mangrove Education Program Webinar Series. Okay, first of all, I would like to thank everyone for joining our session for today. And we are very happy to have Dr. Evelyn and also Dr. Sheena for joining and also going to be our speaker for today. My name is Wan Nozalika and I will be your host and moderator today. I'm from Malaysian Nature Society. I am a KPA Program Development Officer. And I'm also with me, I'm glad to have my colleague, Ms. Sashikala from MNS, and also Ms. Izati and Ms. Atika from UPM to assist our webinar today. So before we go any further, I would like to remind to all adik-adik semua and our attendees today, we are going to use both Bahasa and also English for our session. So please mute yourself during the presentation. Izati, can you go to the next slide? So if you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the chat box. I will bring them up later during the Q&A session after the presentation. So before we get started, I'm going to brief about our program. So this Mangrove Education Program is actually a collaboration between Malaysian Nature Society and University Putra Malaysia under a project named MEITA, or Sustainable Aquatic Resources Management in Mangrove Ecosystem via Internet of Things application. Sorry, Izati, can you please go to the next slide? Okay, never mind. All right, I think that I will just share my screen now. Sorry. Okay, as I mentioned earlier about the program and then the objectives of our session. So these webinars aim to increase the awareness and knowledge of the mangrove ecosystem, the importance of its conservation and introduction to more efficient monitoring methods in mangrove forest conservation efforts through the use of technology. So we are having 4 series of webinars and today we are on our third series and the next would be on 6 October 2021 on Wednesday as well. So please join us for the next last session. And yes, regarding about the quiz and essay competition for today, we are going to have Dr. Evelyn to announce and brief about the essay competition. And also for the next webinars, we will be having quiz competitions, and also we are going to share the link for the quiz next week. So for this week, we are going to share the link for essay competition where you can download, where you can upload all your works there. Okay, so this competition endorsed by Ministry of Education. And for today, so we are going to start at 2:20 after this for the session with Dr. Sheena and Dr. Evelyn. And at 3:30, we are going to have a Q&A session. And also at 4, we are going to have the announcement of the essay competition. And the last, before we end the program, so we are going to have a group photo. So Yes, so now I'm going to brief about our speaker today. So Dr. Evelyn Lim Eileen she is a senior lecturer in the Department of Nature Park and Recreation, Faculty of Forestry and Environment, UPM. Working in environmental education, Dr. Evelyn also is a practitioner and researcher for almost 20 years. Her interest is in exploring what works and does not work in developing and implementing effective programs, specifically designing programs and developing modules for teachers and students based on the principles of interpretations. And the next speaker for today, we are very happy to have Dr. Sheena. Dr. Sheena Bidin, she is a senior lecturer in the Department of Recreation and Ecotourism, Faculty Forestry and Environment, UPM. She is involved with several research projects based on ecotourism, with a special interest in marketing, community empowerment, and conservation learning. She has a specific interest in improving the quality of ecotourism products in Malaysia through marketing and product development, as well as enhancing the conservation learning of tourists and local communities. Without further ado, now I would like to pass the next sessions for Dr. Evelyn to give her talk on mangroves and its community. Dr. Evelyn, are you ready?
Yes, thank you, Zalika. Right. Good afternoon, everyone. Salam sejahtera. And apa khabar semua? All right. Okay. So today we will be discussing and as well as sharing the theme on mangroves and its community. So just like what Puan Zalika has mentioned, this is the third webinar session under the Mangrove Education Program. Yeah. So I will just briefly bring you through what are we going to do today, all right? Okay. Okay, can you see the slide?
Yes.
Yes, we can see you.
Okay.
Yes.
Good, thank you. Okay, what's going to happen is, all right, what we hope to do in today's webinar, it's actually for us to look back at ourselves and try to identify our thoughts and how do we really feel towards mangroves. So it is something for us to just revisit ourselves again. What is really mangroves to me? Okay. And then after that, we will also try to understand, yeah, the roles and the importance of mangroves to us and how we actually depend on mangroves for our survival. So what will happen after this briefing is that we will break up into 3 rooms, yeah? Okay, so the main room, you will be with me. For those who will be in room 1, you will be with Kak Nur Izzati. And for those in room 2, you will be with Dr. Sheena. But don't worry which room you will be going in because Puan Zalika will be assigning you later on. Yeah, so don't worry. Yeah, you just have to be a bit patient before you are being assigned in. All right. Then we will have a little bit of discussion in these rooms together with all our friends. And then at 3 o'clock, we will come back together in the main room and we will share together what you have shared before we present and the presentation on mangroves and its community. All right. And then we will end the session with Q&A before Puan Zalika takes the debriefing and announcement of the competition. Is there any question on what's going to happen after this? Are you okay?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So if everyone is clear what's going to happen, so maybe we will start off with the assigning of everyone into the breakout rooms, and then you will have your session with your facilitators. Okay, all right. So just be patient, yeah, while you are being assigned.
Doctor, I have
Yes.
already assigned everyone.
Okay, so we can all go in, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So doctor will be in the main room, yeah.
Yes, I'll
Okay.
be in the middle. Okay, we'll see
So
you again.
everyone. So everyone, all of you will get the notification. Just join the room after this notification to join the room, yeah. So I'm going to open the room now.
Am I supposed to go to room? Zalika, you give me a cue when you are done, yeah?
Okay.
Right.
Trying to put some of the students in another room. Wait, doctor. Okay, I
Alright.
think all are in the room now.
Okay.
Okay, yes.
Right.
Some of the students not joined. To Ammar, Asar, sorry, doctor. CG Diana, if you are not joining the room one, yes, you can actually follow Dr. Evelyn in the main room. Yes, because I got the notification. Some of the students they did not join the room.
All right.
Okay,
Oh.
sorry.
Okay, yeah. All right. Thank you, Zalika. Okay, so there are about 45 of us in this room. And what I will be bringing you through is for us to discuss generally, what we think and what we feel about mangroves. Now, before we actually go into that, can I maybe ask you, how many of you have been to a mangrove before? Maybe, maybe you can, I stop share. Maybe you can have your thumbs up or like or something like that to show who has actually been. Or you can just write on the chat, me, it's also fine. Anyone? Okay. So no one?
Sorry. Students, you can unmute yourself here. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So now the replies are slowly coming in, yeah? Okay, any more besides Damia? Okay, so went for a prefect camp. Okay, all right, good. Where else? Who else? Nobody? Okay. For let's say from from Nur Ismailina Yana. Sorry, did I state your name correctly? Okay, where did you go? I mean specifically the location. Was it, for example, Kuala Selangor, or was it in Perak, in Matang? Where did you go actually? Okay, you don't remember, but do you remember the state? Somewhere in Kedah. All right. Okay, good. Now, what about wait, Damia, Nur Damia, you said that you have been to a mangrove. Can you remember where it was? Okay, Damia. Kedah too, all right. Okay, now for those who may not have been to a mangrove, you know, to see it firsthand, I'm sure you must have seen a picture of a mangrove or watched a documentary of a mangrove before, right? Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to show you a little bit of some pictures of mangroves, just a little bit tour to see some selected mangrove trees or species that we have, okay? And then have a close look at it and think about it, yeah? And also try to sense how do you feel when you actually look at these pictures, yeah? Okay, all right. Now, I am sure this picture is something which is very norm, okay, which you see most of the times, whether in books, in documentaries, yeah? All right, so this is how a mangrove actually looks like, okay? Now, for one very significant ciri yang sangat nyata, ya, significant characteristics that you can observe is actually, okay, the root system, right? So this is a Rhizophora species, okay, a mangrove tree which we are rather familiar with because we see them in many of our books, yeah, and it's been documented in documentaries and so on and so forth. So this is somewhat very common to us, okay, the root system, stilt roots we call it. And sometimes we may see this, but we actually don't know what it is, okay? You want to know more, you have to wait on longer. And this is the fruits, yeah? The fruit of the Rhizophora species. Well, this is another which you may have seen, okay? And I usually call this is actually called the Bruguiera species, but I describe the seed as somewhat like French beans, or you call it the kacang buncis, right? Because it is short and it's small and thin, okay? So this is the Bruguiera species, or the local name is actually called tumu, yeah? Tumu is one of the local name for Bruguiera species. And what is interesting is the roots, okay? The roots is described as knee roots because it looks like your knee when you bend it, all right? Okay, so this is one of it. And we also have the Avicennia species, or locally we call it api-api. You find this strange looking thing coming out from the mud, yeah? And this is important characteristics of Avicennia or api-api. This is how the fruit is. I always describe it looks like a mango, yeah? And this is how beautiful the flower is, right? And finally, we of course have this species, which we call it the Sonaratia. And if you have been to, let's say, for example, Kuala Selangor to watch the firefly, maybe you can somewhat relate to it because this is actually the local names are called either Perembang, Pokok Perembang, or even Perepat, you know, if you have heard, or even Kedabu, right? These are some of the local names that we use to name Sonaratia species that we can find here. And these are very interesting because these are the fruits And locally, we also call it the mangrove apple because it looks like a mangrove apple, and this is the flower. All right. So these are some of the characteristics of the mangrove trees that you can find in our mangrove. So having looked at all these pictures, yeah, of your mangroves, I would like you to answer these questions, yeah. What are the physical characteristics, for example, the roots or the tree trunk, the branch, the bark, the leaf, the fruit or the seed, whichever that makes you attracted to it for one reason or another? Okay? Any physical characteristics of any mangrove tree that makes you like it? Okay? What is it that makes you like it? Yeah, and why? Tell me why. If you like the roots of the tree, oh, I like the roots of the mangrove tree that looks like a needle coming out from the mud because dot dot dot. So you explain, okay? And you can also share then what is it about the physical characteristics of the mangrove that you dislike most? Why? Why do you dislike most? Okay, you describe it, you share with it. And then, what do you feel when you see the mangrove? I hate seeing it, you know, oh, I love it. Oh, I feel so excited. Tell me, how do you feel? Oh, I have no feeling. That's also an feeling, okay? And another question, if you were to go to a mangrove or you have been to a mangrove, yeah, or you will be going to a mangrove, what is the one animal that you wish to see when you are in the mangrove? And then finally, the question is, what can I do to conserve mangrove? Okay, knowing that most of you are actually KPA students, right? So what can I do as a student to conserve mangroves? Now, how do you answer these questions is that there are two options, yeah? You can either, if you like, you can scan this QR code, and this QR code would actually lead you to a page where you can actually write and answer the questions, okay? Or if alternatively you cannot, then what you can do is actually answer these questions in the chat box. All right, is that clear? Do you need any clarification? Okay, so if you are clear, you can actually snapshot this QR code before I leave this page and go into the page that we will be sharing together. All that you think, all that you feel, all that you want about mangroves, okay? Okay, I give you about 30 seconds for you to screenshot this QR code, yeah? And if you think you have forgotten the questions, when you go into this page, the questions are also written there, so you can revisit. Generally, just tell us what you like about mangroves, what you don't like about mangroves, yeah? What do you feel when you see mangroves? And what animal do you really want to see, and why? And what can I do to conserve mangroves? Okay. Okay. All right. Another 30 seconds, yeah, before I leave this QR code page, yeah, and get into the Padlet page, yeah. Okay. Right. Has anyone gone into this page? Has anyone gone into this page? All right, so if you have gone into this Padlet page, you can just click on this plus sign and you can start writing. Yeah, all right. So maybe you will have about 5 minutes for you to answer these questions. Yeah. Okay, for those who just came in, well, we are in this, the participants have been divided into different breakout rooms. So for those who came in, you can actually answer these questions, yeah, and then we will share these answers together later on, yeah. Don't worry, there is no right and wrong answer to this, okay? Okay, is everyone all right? Is everyone going to add on? Yeah, okay. From a student, I like the leaf most because it got many shapes, especially love shape is the most special one. Okay, please add on, yeah. The rest, please click on this and then you can follow suit, yeah. Answer the questions. For the rest, I love the roots. It looks like it's standing by itself, not like other trees I've seen. I really know if it is true, but mangroves that I've seen don't really have a lot of leaves. T might be because the place I went to is just a small one. But my first impression towards mangrove trees, they look so unreal to me at first. And I hope I can join a conservation program. Okay, it's very interesting. Okay, we'll come back, yeah? Can I know who is this? Can you please make yourself known? Okay. The mangrove root for the special shade. Okay. I dislike the mosquito in the area. Annoying, right? You are not the only one. Okay. It is protecting our land. Mud crab look delicious. Okay. Keep it clean. All right. Good. Next, I like the roots most as its fibrous roots work together to hold the soil tight and balance the ecosystem. Very good. Okay. I love everything about mangrove. It is because mangrove play important roles as a habitat to many creatures and give protection to human. Right, that's good. Okay, for another friend, I like the root, okay, because it is unique. Can you explain, some of you, what is it that is so unique about the root system? What is so unique about the root system? Another friend said, what I like most is the root of the mangrove trees is outside from the soil. I like it because it's so unique and other trees are not like that. Right, good, interesting response. I like the root the most. I think it's just unique that the root looks like it's floating. Okay, all right, good, interesting. And next reply, I love the root because it is different. Wait, hold on. Wait. I love the root the most. It's because the mangrove roots are very unique and not all trees. Yeah, have it. Okay, have mangrove-like roots. All right, any more? I like the leaves of the mangrove the most because it's different for every mangrove species. Okay, all right. I dislike the branches the most since it looks sharp and might be able to hurt anyone. Okay, you actually feel nothing when you see mangrove. Number 4, I want to see mud crabs in a mangrove. Okay. And 5, I can conserve it by learning about mangroves in school and also join campaign. Okay, another reply is I like every part of it because they are unique. Unlike other trees, they can tolerate salt water. Okay, so far it has been all the likes and only one dislike. Can I get anyone to share with me what is it that you don't like about the mangrove? Can you share? I will just, yeah, what do you dislike? Okay, so you can just write it on, yeah, add in here. Okay, tell us, what do I feel? What do you feel about mangroves? Anybody feel excited or not? Yeah, right? Okay. All right. Okay, the rest you are not writing. Could we get you to write either on this Padlet or in this chat box? Let's start with, I'm sure, okay, the mud. You don't like the mud because it ate your shoes. Okay, I'm sure you must have been to a mangrove. Am I correct? Yeah, okay. You may have experienced getting stuck in the mud. All right, what about the rest? The mud and the root. Okay, so you see, for some people, they like the root, but for some, it is the other way around. They actually don't like the root. Yeah, okay. Come on, what else? What else? Get yourself in and write. So for others, what do you feel about mangroves? You say that it's dark, okay? It's dark, yeah? Right. Yeah, it's very true. It's dark. Okay? Lagi. What else? What else? There's another friend that says, I don't like how the tree looks. It's messy. Okay? Very interesting perspective. Yeah. And then another friend says, I like the root most because the root is like flowering to be exposed to air. It's so unique. Okay. All right, good. Come on. Can I get others to write as well? You know, it's very interesting to know what our friends think about the mangroves, you know. Yeah, it's amazing. Right, good. What else? Okay, you dislike the branch as it contains thorns and rough surface, unlike other fruit trees, yeah? Okay, good. What else? What else do you feel? What is the feeling that you get when it is dark? What is the feeling that you get when it is dark? My dear, you can actually unmute yourself and answer me, yeah? Okay? Anyone would like to answer me? Okay, the mangrove is so thick that makes the environment there looks dark. All right, so that's one perspective from the participants to explain why it is so dark. All right, anybody else? Is any one of you afraid of going into the mangroves? Is there any of you? Yeah, maybe you can just share with us by writing me or something like that so that I know, yeah, and I can identify you. One of your friends said, like a dark cave as it contains a lot of mystery. Okay, so my question to you, it's like dark cave as it contains a lot of mystery. Is that mystery something good or is that mystery something bad? Okay, right? Not everywhere we can plant mangroves, so it's quite special. Okay, so this is how you feel. Okay, right. So for some, mangrove is very mysterious. Some it is scary because of it being dark. It is very interesting as well, as mangrove is not like other trees. Okay, all right. Anybody else can describe what they feel? What you feel is like, I am afraid. I am happy to see it. I am excited. I am amazed. And these are all what you feel. Any of that feeling that way? Or most of you, Ada, it doesn't matter. There's no emotion at all. You know, where do you stand? It looks like a haunted tree. Okay? All right. One of your friends say, I think have its own pros and cons, but good is more than bad, I think. All right, let's check it out later, yeah? Right? Okay. Okay. Right. Anybody else would like to write? Don't worry, keep on writing. Okay. All right. Okay. Anybody else would like to share? We have another. Okay. Can we go to the section on question on what do you think can I do as a student to conserve? Can we go to that question? You can do to conserve mangrove. All right. Okay, can I get some response on what do you think you can do for mangrove conservation? Anyone? Anyone? Please carry on writing, because we will be sharing with the rest of your friends, yeah? What you have written, okay? Okay, come on. Anyone on the chat? Okay. Nothing. Do you think you cannot do anything for mangrove conservation because you do not know how to do it? Or do you think it is not my responsibility to do it because I'm still a student. I can't do anything, for mangrove. What do you think? Come on, share with me. What do you think? Anyone sharing? Okay. So before we go back to the main room, maybe what I can just summarize, of what you feel here, it's a mixture of both something positive, because you talk from the context of the function, you talk from the context of the roots, the uniqueness of the root that actually sticks out from the mud. And you also talk from the context of, what the leaves, each one have different leaf shape, and the best that you like is actually the one with the heart shape, and then you find them to be unique, unlike any other trees that we usually find on land, right? So these are some of the interesting characteristics that you find to be that you like about mangrove. And what do you don't like is maybe because of the darkness lah. In the mangrove, you actually find it. I dislike that. About mangroves. Many of you don't like the mud. Okay, either because you have gotten stuck before, and some of you actually don't like the root, and then one of you wrote, what I dislike the most for mangrove tree is because it is inedible. Hence, people might think it is useless. All right, good. Very good point that you have actually raised out, Now, let's see later on. Is it really inedible, mangroves? Do we not get our food from mangroves? We'll answer that later, all right? And then there's one, jungle. Okay, maybe jungle thingy is not for you, but don't worry, okay? Another one is we used to walk on the branches to go to the sea. It was a memorable moment for me, but my shoes got dirty and I fell into the mud a few times. Okay, it's okay. It's an experience that not many people get, and you should be treasuring it all your life. Okay, all right. And you also have your friend saying, I don't like the tree because it's quite tall and hard to walk in with the mud in the root. Okay. In terms of feeling, some of you know, I don't feel anything. Some of you feel afraid because it's dark. Some of you think it is very mysterious. There's something inside there which I don't know. Okay. So these are some of the answers to the questions that we will discuss in the main room. Everybody has come. All right. Okay. So please continue writing what your answers to the question. Yeah. All right, continue writing and we shall be reading your comment because this is very important as well because we will be sharing with you and answering some of the questions that you have posed and state in this activity. Okay. Anybody else? I've seen some of you, there are some of you from Sabah, okay, from Agase, which is actually from Lahad Datu. You have large mangrove areas, don't you? Yeah, in Lahad Datu, Jessica, right? And I'm one of your friends from Agase have also stated that they have the mangrove that they visited is actually in Sabah, Lahad Datu. Okay, all right.
Yes, I'm from Sabah.
Okay.
Jessica.
Yeah, could you share with us what was your experience like? Your mangroves, the mangroves that you visited?
Well, it's actually the main reason we are visiting the mangrove area is to see the bird sanctuary.
I see. Okay, okay, all right. So was it a good experience and sighting?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's very interesting being inside the mangroves. It's unique, kind of unique. The trees, it's different. But when we came to the bird sanctuary, actually it's not the season of the birds to come. So we only focus on watching the trees and everything.
I see. Okay. Jessica, you are cikgu.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
it was
Okay,
my
thank you.
experience. Yeah, it was my experience back then when I was still studying in UITM.
Okay, okay. All right. So, yeah. Thank you very much, cikgu.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Doctor?
Yes.
Sorry, we are actually now it's 3:03 and I think that the room 1 already informed that they are ready to come back to the main room. Should I close all rooms now?
Yes, we can close the rooms now.
Okay. So everyone will be in this main room in another 50 seconds. Yes.
Okay. All right. So we'll wait and see what your other friends in the other rooms actually share about, mangroves. Yeah.
Hi, Dr. Evelyn. We are back here.
Hi, Dr. Shina. How was it?
It was good. It was good. But they mainly respond from the chat. Okay.
Okay.
So we have one volunteer from Bakrot Room 1, which is Shangjana.
Okay.
From SMK Convent, Father Bear.
Oh, okay, okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead, Dr. Shina, with the sharing session.
Oh, okay. Have you started the sharing?
Wait, let me check. The rest, room 3 is not back yet, right?
I think from the room 3, yes, they will be joining soon. Yes,
Okay,
I already add them in this room.
I see. Okay, maybe we just hang on for a while.
All right.
Okay. Okay, I think the number has stabilized. Probably we can just carry on. Yeah. Okay, Dr. Sheena, maybe we can start with your group for the sharing session.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Evelyn. So we have discussed, and then there's a lot of interesting opinions too, okay, about what they dislike, but mostly a lot of them dislikes the roots, okay. One of the comment but was that it looked like a monster. The root looks like a monster.
Okay.
Okay. All right. And then the rest is they wanted to conserve mangrove because it's important for the environment. And then we have here Shanjana, okay, from SMK Convent Father Bear, to share her opinions, okay, on what she likes and dislikes, okay, and what animals she'd like to see in the mangrove area, and also what she can do to conserve. All right.
Okay.
So Sanjana, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
All right. Okay, go ahead, Sanjana, with your sharing.
Okay. First of all, the physical characteristics of the mangroves that I like is that the mangroves can live in salty water because most plants cannot adapt to it. And the second question is requiring us to answer the physical characteristics of the mangroves that we dislike. But for me, there are actually no characteristics that I dislike of the mangroves because everything is great. And number three, when I see a picture of the mangrove area, I feel that the mangroves are very unique and spectacular in their own way. And when I'm in a mangrove area, I hope to see aquatic animals such as fish, prawn, and crabs because the mangrove's base is actually water. And to conserve the mangroves, I can spread awareness of the mangrove conservation through social media and encourage my friends to do the same thing by explaining its benefits. I can also join programs and campaigns to conserve the mangroves. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Sanjana. Okay, Evelyn, back to you.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Izzati, is there anything you would like to share with us from your room discussion, Izzati? Okay. Okay. Since Izzati it's not responding yet, then I will just share generally what from the group have actually shared. So generally, the students in the main room, they actually have positive. They like the mangroves, and they are able to see its role and function. Many of them like the roots because they find it to be very unique. Yeah, and then of course they also one of them, they actually hope to see the mud crab when they are in the mangroves because they think the mud crab is actually delicious. Yeah, and some of them they actually like the leaves because each one have different shapes, and she actually likes the one with the love or the heart shape. Yeah, okay, and yeah, that's generally it. The leaves and the roots actually dominant lah. That is the dominant characteristics that makes them like. But at the same time, when you talk about dislike, the root seems to be coming out again as something which they don't like. Yeah. because what is said here is, I don't like the mangrove roots. It made my way difficult and once hurt me while going into the mangroves. Okay, sorry, into the jungle. And then some of them got stuck in a mud before, so that is also something that maybe they don't like because it ate their shoes. Yeah, and the shoe got stuck like in the mud. All right. And then the branch, yeah, for some, the branch, they don't like it because it contains thorns and rough surface, unlike other fruit trees. Okay, so these are some of the things that they actually don't like. And for how they feel towards the mangrove, it's mysterious in some way because it's dark, it's a little bit scary. So that's how it is being viewed and seen. And it looks like a haunted tree, yeah, to some. And then for others, I don't feel anything about it. You know, I don't feel anything. And yeah, others, it's scary. So these are the main emotions that the students have shared in our group. So far, nobody have mentioned anything about what I can do, yeah, to conserve mangroves. Okay, so that's from the main room. I will be stopping to share. Anyone from the third room? Izati, are you there?
Doctor, I think Izati's line is not good. So
Okay,
yes, but I think that the group is having a discussions with Atika as well, right?
yeah, okay. All right, so maybe Atika, you can actually just give us or invite someone to actually share, or you can give a summary.
Oh, most of them, there are some bit scary, and then another one has been in Sabah, in Mangrove Sabah.
Okay.
John, is it John? Him?
Yes, Atika, Zoe.
Zoe. Yeah, the one. Maybe he can share some experience.
Okay, come on, come share with
Zoe?
us. What's your experience like?
Go Zoe, go
Experience in Mangrove.
Yeah.
Experience.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm going for a job. Basically, I'm going for a job from my house, ba. Sorry ya kalau ada slang Sabah.
All right.
So when I'm going to job, there's this lane where I have to cross this mangrove area, but not too near lah. And then after the lane, we go to a hill. So the lane is here kan. So to say it's smelly, not too smelly lah. But the water in mangrove is, as we can see, it's little bit muddy and very dirty. And also many birds, of course, many birds come to the mangrove. And I couldn't see animals because I wasn't too close to the mangrove side. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? You know, we don't have to be in any specific groups. Anybody else would like to share with us? What are your thoughts and your feelings? Anybody? Lo Yao Chi. Sorry, if I mispronounced your name. Yao Chi, would you like to share with us anything? Anybody? Yan Chi, sorry, Lo Yan Chi from SMJK Katwa. Would you like to share?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Have you been to a mangrove?
No.
Okay, so do you like the mangroves generally?
Not fully like, partially.
Why?
maybe I never go there before. If
Mhm.
after I go there, maybe I will know them more, then I will like it.
Mm, okay, yes. Thank you, Yanchi. We hope, yeah, with the COVID pandemic subsiding, we can actually go back to the open spaces, yeah, especially the mangroves. All right, so I will share with you, yeah, other same thoughts, yeah, as other people, what they think of mangroves and why do people think it that way? But why and is it really right to think it that way or feel it that way? Okay, all right. So if we ask anyone outside, not only school children, but even adults, if we ask, you are so right when you say mangroves are so ugly, you know, with the crooked branch, you know, and it's so scary because of the roots, you know, and some is the dangling, you know, you have these dangling roots. This is actually called the aerial roots. Yeah. And you know, we are being Asians, we have very creative minds. We start to wonder and go into the mysterious world of the unknown. So that is what people usually associate mangroves with. Scary. Okay. And ugly is of course the messiness that it looks, it just doesn't look so well coordinated. Everything is everywhere and it is dark. Okay, but what is so important about this is that, yeah, most of us, we are not familiar with the root system that we see, that we see in the mangroves, because what we it what we see in the terrestrial or in the land is so different. It's just straightforward, you know, and there's no root such as this. Okay, but then these roots, those that whether like this or the one like this, which we call the aerial roots, they are very, very important. Yeah, they create eerie feeling and our imagination goes wild. But then we must understand that these roots are important and it comes out from the mud so that it enables the root to breathe. Because on these roots, whether it is on these roots, yeah, they have breathing cells, which we call the lenticels. Okay, and you know that mangrove, they are covered in water, right? At least twice a day. Air pasang, air surut. Yeah. So when they are covered in water, you know, they cannot breathe. So they depend on something else. So that's where they actually adapt themselves to have lenticels on these roots so that they can breathe, as well as having these aerial roots that comes down from the tree branches and tree top. Okay, so roots, these roots are so important, yeah, and is a way of them adapting to living in the mud and also in the water. Some of you also mentioned mangroves are dirty. And the dirtiness is always related to the mud. Yeah, because when we go into the mud, it is so difficult to remove the mud away from our body and also from our clothes. But then actually, this mud is so important for these mangroves, yeah, because the mud consists of sediments. Sediments ialah bahan sedimen ataupun bahan bawaan air. Okay, these sediments are brought by the river flowing, yeah, the water flowing in the river, as well as sediments brought by the sea water. And then both combine together, and when water subsides during air surut most of the time, is where all these small particle of sediments will actually be deposited ataupun bahan-bahan sedimen dimendapkan. Okay, and these sediments are so rich in nutrients, which is so important for the mangroves. If you don't have this nutrient from these sediments, yeah, which we think is dirty, the mangroves will not survive. Okay, because this is where they get their vitamins from, for the tree to grow and to bear fruit, yeah, and to flower. Okay, so sediments, mangroves are dirty because of the mud, but yet to the mangroves, it is a very, very important survival element for the mangroves. They cannot just depend on nutrients from wildlife droppings or from the rain. So this is where they get their nutrients to survive. Now, next, we also think that mangroves are dangerous. Sometimes we have no problems with the mangrove trees because actually the mangrove trees doesn't do anything. It is just there. It doesn't even move. You talk to a tree, also it doesn't reply to you. It is so harmless. But then sometimes we are affected by what is in the mangroves. Okay? And that's why we sometimes perceive mangroves as being dangerous. So one of it is actually this, all right? And this is very prevalent in the state of Sarawak, okay? Is there any students from Sarawak here? Can you just show thumbs up or just say me, 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 me? Yeah. So for Sarawak, the crocodile is being feared, yeah, because of the reputation it is being portrayed. Look at this. Body of missing fisherman found with croc attack wounds in Sarawak. Inland fishermen in Sarawak presumed dead after crocodile attack. Boy, 14, is Sarawak's second crocodile victim in 3 days. So we are bombarded by this to show us that crocodile is so evil, you know, and it attacks human. But frankly speaking, actually humans, crocodile don't like eating humans. You know, we are not their favorite food at all. They eat other animals, fish, snakes, birds, monkeys. You know, the macaques. Sometimes even mammals. Small mammals in the mangrove. But humans have never been part of their diet. But what has happened, based on the report by Sarawak Forestry Corporation, it says sometimes the crocodiles are being threatened because of the presence of humans. It is sort of like a miscommunication between us humans and the crocodile, because when we are swimming, they may be thinking, this is human. Maybe this is actually a monkey, and when it's time for me to eat, I'm hungry. Oh, that's the opportunity for me to go. Unknowingly, that it is not actually a monkey. So this is one of the reasons that has been stated, by the Sarawak Forestry Corporation. Another thing, if we go into the river water, their territory, especially during mating season, they are very, very territorial and very protective. So they may feel that we are actually threatening them. So that is how conflicts like this actually happen between us humans and crocodiles. And of course, the population of crocodiles in Sarawak is definitely much higher than the population of crocodiles in the Peninsular Malaysia. Because in Peninsular Malaysia, we don't really hear any stories about crocodile eating humans. And in fact, most of the times when we have reports saying, oh, crocodiles were sighted in Klang River, everybody gets so excited about it and trying to go and see whether they can get a glimpse. It is a very different experience, between those living in Peninsular Malaysia and in Sarawak. Right? Okay. And for some, besides crocodile, some also think that, oh, I'm so afraid of some of these animals because they are dangerous. For example, snakes. Many people have a very, very strong dislike for snakes, yeah, because of its physical characteristics. Again, because of the impression, you see snakes, you will be attacked and you will die. These are what people believe. And for Peninsular Malaysia, what usually happens is the conflict between humans and macaques. Yeah, and these conflicts arises because the forest, the mangrove areas which the macaques stay is actually shrinking, you know, and more humans are actually going into their habitat. So, like it or not, they have no choice, but sometimes many a times they end up bumping into humans, and that's where the conflict arises again. Humans, do we feed them? Humans, do we actually provoke them to the stage that they are frightened and they start to attack you? These are some situations that actually rises that makes us think that mangroves are dangerous lah. Don't go there. All right? And most of us also think that mangroves are wasteland. Why do we think mangroves are wasteland? Because many of us cannot grasp the understanding of what does mangrove gives me actually. What is the service that it actually provides me? Okay? For many people, it's easy to understand that mangroves is a breeding ground and habitat for marine life. For us humans, we go to nurseries, we go to hospital, a mom goes to the hospital to give birth. When we are young, we are sent to the nursery, okay? But for fishes, for many of these seafood that we eat at home, this is their hospital, this is their nursery. So if we don't have mangrove, then we don't have our seafood. Look at this, how these eerie structures and ugly structures provide them with the protection. Okay, we can see the benefit here through money, the income you get by the fisherman, yeah, and the import and export of these fisheries products. However, how many of us can actually understand mangroves is so important because it actually encourages the formation of land. Look at this, the Abyssinia. This is where they are called the frontiers because they are the ones in the front line facing the sea. And these important root system, they sort of like intertwine with each other, trapping all the sediments and encouraging the formation of land. That means the mangrove will move towards the sea area. So mangroves are very, very important, yeah? And they make sure that the land area is actually stable. Okay, next, mangroves are also very important. You know, it is like a defense against strong wind and waves. And for those of you who have read the tsunami in 2004, I think that time you were very, very young. You would know that, you know, the impact of tsunami was so great. It's because many of the mangrove areas were also degraded. Okay. And of course, at this era where climate change is such an important issue, we cannot deny that mangrove is very important as a carbon sink in climate change. What do you mean by carbon sink? Everything that lives on Earth, we have elements of carbon, including you and me. Okay? And when we die, we actually let out carbon through the decomposition process or through the various processes that we live. So when you have live trees, and when this deposition of sediments happens, which delays the process of decaying, it allows a lot of carbon to be stored in land rather than being let out into the atmosphere. So mangroves is very, very important as carbon sink, and in terms of regulating your temperature in your local areas. Okay, now these are some of the important ecological services which is so important, but yet people find it difficult to understand because it is something that you cannot see. When on Earth can you actually see the carbon storage unless you have learned it? Okay, but what Dr. Sheena will be sharing with you after this is actually how do we humans really rely or depend on the mangrove, yeah, for our survival. Over to you, Dr. Sheena.
Thank you so much, Dr. Evelyn, for the interesting presentation. Okay, all right. I was quite surprised, to see the pictures. Apparently, there's a lot of slippers, being thrown in the mangrove.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Anybody realize that? Okay, how many minutes do I have here, Zalika? Miss Zalika?
Okay, sorry, Doctor. You have until 4 o'clock because I think that yes, because now it's 3:30, so we are supposed to have the Q&A sessions after this session.
Okay.
So yes, so we might be like if you want, we can continue after your session. Just continue with the Q&A.
Okay, thank you so much.
Now now it's only 3:30. Okay, Doctor.
All right, thank you so much, Ms. Zalika. All right, so thank you, Dr. Evelyn, too, for sharing. So for my sharing this afternoon, I will be talking briefly about mangroves and people, yeah? So during the breakout room, we have discussed about what you can do for mangroves, okay? And then why mangroves is important, what do you believe about mangrove? So that is such an interesting session, yeah? Okay, all right. Before I start, all right, my presentation, I would like for you all to think about, okay, maybe you can close your eyes and then, but jangan tidur ya. Close your eyes. I know it's in the afternoon and maybe some of you are tired, okay, but please bear with me just for a few minutes, okay? On this talk. All right, so just close your eyes and then I want you all to think about why I value mangroves, okay? I need you to question yourself on why I value mangrove, okay? Not other people, yeah? You, why I value mangrove, okay? All right, so you can respond from the chat, okay? I'd like to hear what you all, what the responses are on why I value mangroves, okay? All right. Can I hear some response from the chat room? Atau semua dah tidur dah? Petang-petang ni kan, ada yang hujan lagi, sejuk-sejuk. Okay, all right. So, Mitzoy, sorry if I mispronounce your name. From SMK St. Joseph. Okay, this is a very famous school too in Sabah. I'm from Sabah too. Okay, Mitzoy. Okay, Mitzoy say he valued mangrove because mangrove is very important for us. Yeah, as you can hear from Dr. Evelyn's talk, okay, you can see how mangroves are very important, yeah? Okay, an interesting response from Yan Chi. She said, if I value mangrove, mangrove will value us. Wow, that's very deep, yeah? Sanjana, you want to share on why I value mangrove? And Arif said, I value mangrove because it acts as a natural dam. Yes, Sanjana. Yes, Sanjana.
Yes, I value mangroves because first of all, the mangroves protect the water's quality by removing its pollutants, and other than that, I also value mangroves because they also protect us from big storms such as tsunami, like Dr. Evelyn said.
Oh, thank you so much, Sanjana. All right, and thank you everyone too that response in the chat. Arif said it acts as a natural dam and also it acts as a wave breaker. Yes, like what Dr. Evelyn has told us just now. Yeah. Okay. Why I ask this question is because maybe for us, okay, for us individual, we value mangrove differently. We see it in a different point of view, okay? But some people, they value mangrove differently, okay? It's the people that lives near the mangrove area, okay? And these are the people that rely on mangroves, yeah? Okay. Okay, if I want to put it in other way, okay, they rely on mangrove because mangroves area are like their office, okay? So we go to office like in the office building, right? But these people, they go to mangrove area because this is where their jobs are, all right? Okay, let's go through, okay, why people and mangroves are so important, yeah, especially communities that are living near the mangroves area. Okay, all right. So the mangroves tree, okay, they provide charcoal wood, yeah. So why? Charcoal wood is made from mangroves, okay, because it's good as charcoal. So when you when you barbecue chicken, okay, go for picnic and there's a barbecue, I want you to look at the charcoal, okay, and then remember that some of the charcoal are made from mangrove trees, okay, particularly the rhizophora trees, okay, because why? It's very dense, okay, and it's also hard, okay. It's preferable as a charcoal because it burns longer, okay, and it produces less smoke. So some of the local communities that lives in the mangroves area, they actually help to produce this charcoal wood, all right? Okay, what else? Mangrove trees are also used for poles construction, okay, you know the tiang, okay. So these trees are very hard trees, okay, hardwood trees, okay, they can withstand humidity. So that's why it's used sometimes for poles construction, and then local communities are the one who is producing this, okay, and working in the and working to produce this poles construction. All right. All right. Okay. How about this? Have you been to a house with atap nipa? I'm sure a lot of you are familiar, yeah? Okay. You weaving nipa into atap. So the trees from the mangrove forest, okay, they actually weave it. You can actually weave it into atap, yeah? So what is it? Okay, can you see the picture here? Okay. It's actually the roof, yeah? The roof is made from atap nipa, okay? So it comes from mangrove trees, yeah? So the local communities weave it, okay, to make it into roofs, okay? And then they also sell it, okay? For example, here I found an example from Carousel, okay? I'm sure some of you are very familiar with this. It's where we sell things, okay? And then they are selling this atap nipa and rumbia, yeah? Okay. All right. So these are the things that provides local communities with jobs, okay, and income, all right? Okay. Other than that, local communities also sell local products, okay? So can you see this local products here? There's a lot of local products that can be made from mangroves. We have the teh jeruju here, okay? And then we have the nipa fruit, okay? Jus berembang, okay? Can anybody tell me whether they have tried jus berembang? I personally haven't tried it, yeah. Jus berembang. Have you tried it, Dr. Evelyn?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
How does it taste like?
Well, it tastes a bit like kelat-kelat manis, something like that. Yeah.
Okay, I will try that one day. And then Arif said in this chat, I've heard that lokan is delicious. It looks delicious, right? Okay, so these are some of the local products, yeah, that communities make it into and sell it, okay, as their source of income. All right. Okay. So mangroves are also important to people because why? I'm sure everyone knows this. It's the source of food. In fact, in the breakout room, I see that some of the comments, okay, they want to see crabs. Okay. My favorite is also crab. Okay. But maybe we can, after the PKP, we can do some activities in the mud to find crabs. Okay, so it's a source of food, all right, from mangroves, yeah. Okay, all right. Okay, so with this food, okay, there's fish, there's also fishermen, okay. So local communities, a lot of them, okay, in the fishing village, are fishermen, okay. So it's their source of livelihood, okay. They take out fishes, udang galah, okay, crabs, for the local seafood market, yeah? Okay, and another one, a famous one is the local industries. So can you see here? The ikan bilis, the udang kering, okay, keropok lekor. Who likes to eat keropok lekor? So the keropok lekor, okay, me too. I like to eat keropok lekor too, yeah? So when you eat keropok lekor, you must remember that it comes from the fishes, yeah? And local communities, many local communities, especially in the fishing village, okay, are doing these local industries, yeah? To supply keropok lekor, ikan bilis, udang kering, okay? Okay. So what else? We have talked about food, okay? We have talked about the atap nipa. So now, mangrove is also important to the community because it provides us ecotourism area, okay? So ecotourism area is what? Mangroves are also part of ecotourism areas, and some local communities, in fact, a lot of local communities works in this ecotourism industry, okay? So if you see the picture here of a tourist and a boat, they are so excited looking at something. I'm not sure what they are looking at, but they seem so happy, okay, going into mangroves area. Because it's interesting, yeah? Mangrove area provides us a place for us to do recreational activities, and ecotourism area, ecotourism activities, okay? If you see here, there's this insect, okay? This is actually the kelip-kelip, okay? I know that some of you likes to see the kelip-kelip, right? So in mangroves area, tourists come and see the kelip-kelip. And it's actually so spectacular, lah. After the PKP, we can bring our parents to go to mangrove area, yeah, Ken? All right. And also to see other wildlife. Yeah, as you know, Dr. Evelyn has shown us some pictures of the crocodiles, okay, of the mangrove snakes, which is quite menakutkan, right? Quite scary. But there are also a lot of wildlife in mangroves area, and tourists actually come to the mangrove area to see these wildlife, yeah, and just to be in this mangrove ecosystem, all right, and to appreciate the mangroves area. Okay, so local communities, a lot of them works in ecotourism industry, okay, especially in mangrove area where they bring tourists to come and see the wildlife in mangroves and also other special things like kalip in mangroves. Yeah. So that is how communities are depending on the mangrove. Okay. And mangroves area also provides us a place for us to do education, research, and also conservation. Okay. In fact, a lot of the programs, okay, we do like programs such as planting programs, okay, in mangroves area. Okay. All right. So that is the importance of mangroves to people. Okay, but of course, mangroves are also threatened, yeah, now by deforestation, okay, from natural or man-made, yeah, deforestation. And also there are threats in terms of land use change, okay, reclamation of mangroves area, okay, for farming, okay, to build houses and urbanization. So that is all threats to mangrove, yeah. So I hope that my talk today and also Dr. Evelyn's talk, all right, will also inspire you to think deeply about why we need to value mangroves and also why we need to conserve mangroves, yeah. All right, so that is all my talk for today about mangroves and people, and I hope that I have given some new insights to you. Okay, thank you everyone for listening, yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Sheena and also Dr. Evelyn for sharing with us on the mangrove and its community. So students, now we are on the Q&A sessions. So please unmute yourself. If you have any questions, you can raise your hands. There's a raise button near your name in the participants list name. And also for those who want to, who are shy to ask questions, so you can just drop down your questions, yeah, in the chat box. So I guess that right now I don't see any new questions, but yes, we do have a questions from our Facebook Live. So I'm going to read these questions to Dr. Evelyn and also Dr. Sheena, whoever want to respond to these questions. Okay, so this is from Intan Baharudin. She actually commented earlier, trash litters, every oceans, not just mangrove. Sadly, the parliament now don't give any. Okay, so her question is, with global warming and rising sea level, will this kill the mangrove? Thank you.
Okay, maybe I just answer it lah, yeah. Thank you, Intan. Yes, climate change, global warming, this is really the issue of concern at the moment. Whether it will kill the mangroves, it depends on how fast the rate of the sea level increase. It also depends on, several factors. Okay, so but what is evident is if sea level rise, there will be higher chances of salt water coming into the mangroves. So even with the mangrove profiles that we have seen, some of the mangroves which are less tolerant to salt, and if they are exposed to higher salinity ataupun kadar kemasinan yang lebih tinggi daripada ia mampu menampung, that would actually affect the species. And it will also change the composition of the mangroves in that area. In terms of timing, if the sea level rise increases at a very fast rate, beyond the capability of the mangroves to actually adapt, yeah, along the way, then yes, it will be killed most likely. But if it goes slowly enough for the mangroves to adapt, probably it won't kill all, but the mangroves will slowly adapt to the new situation. So there are many factors for us to see whether, how the mangroves will survive, but definitely it will be affected not only on mangroves, but also on the entire natural resources in the area when climate change and sea level rise happens. Yeah, I hope that answer your question, yeah?
Okay, thank you, Dr. Evelyn. Okay, the next question from Isaac. Apa beza bakau di air masin dan nipah di air tawar? Adakah kegunaannya sama?
Okay. Bakau mangroves, we actually have it in brackish water, which is campuran air masin and also air tawar. So the brackish water. So is nipah. Yeah. Nipah is also found in brackish water. So both of these are found in kawasan air payau. Ya, air payau iaitu gabungan air campuran air masin dengan air tawar. Berbeza, the difference with freshwater mangrove is it's fresh water. It's totally fresh water. And if you look in terms of the position or the profile, it exists after, yeah, the mangrove, after the mangrove forest, okay, towards landwards. That is how we differentiate bakau, nipah, which is mangrove, and freshwater swamp. Okay, is that all right, Isaac?
Okay, thank you, Doctor. Another questions, are all the mangrove water are salty?
Mangrove water, yes, because mangrove exists in the between the high tide and low tide area, kan? So there will be incoming of salt water. It's just that the level of salt salinity ataupun kemasinan, it's lower compared to the marine salt water. Okay.
Thank you, Doctor. And yeah, another questions from, wait, let me check her name. Because they put the their school name first. From this student is from SMK Taman Kenari. Sekejap ya. Yeah, I cannot see her name. Nur Ismaliana. So if her question is, if most mangroves are used for the domestic industries, would it lead to the extinction of the mangrove forest?
Okay. Sheena, would you want to answer?
Yeah, okay. If most mangroves are used for the domestic industries, okay, would it lead to the extinction of the mangrove forest? Well, for me, what do you mean, yeah? If for the domestic industry? Sorry, yeah, Ismaliana, yeah?
Yes.
If I want, yeah.
Sorry, maybe Nur Ismaliana, can you unmute and maybe you want to explain a little bit about the questions?
Local industry, she said local industries. Okay, all right. Well, if I want to respond it generally, of course, if every time, okay, if we use resources, okay, from mangroves or also from the forest without any plan, okay, without any if we don't use it sustainably, okay, of course it will lead to the extinction of the mangroves forest. Okay, so that is why we are trying to conserve mangroves forest. Okay, and then there is also like plants, okay, not plants, like what do you call that, Evelyn? our
You mean local plan?
yeah, like local plan or like the sustainably managed, okay, sustainable management of these industries, okay, of how we can extract the mangrove forest responsibly, okay, and how we can use it responsibly, okay. So as long as we adhere to sustainable practices, okay, because we understand that local communities need it, okay, as a source of livelihood, then we can be sure that it won't be extinct, yeah, as long as we put conservation practices in place. Okay.
Maybe I add on to Dr. Sheena. Yeah, what Dr. Sheena said is very true. But in many places in our country, mangroves provide an important important support for the fisheries industries. A lot of other resources used for, let's say, for construction, for, atap nipa, these are actually slowly dying. And even the skill of weaving the nipa leaves is actually dying because the resources are depleting. And we ourselves have moved towards from depending on our resources so much to being dependent on plastic resources and also non-degradable resources like, our house are no more built with wood, but it's cement and bricks. So what happens is this: when we plasticize our lives and cementicize the things that we use in our lives, we buy our fish, produced and all from shops, from malls, rather than going to the villages to buy, we sort of like disconnect ourselves from the reality of where these resources come from. And this is also one of the reasons why sometimes people, they find it difficult to appreciate what the mangroves provide because they cannot see in front of their eyes. These are actually from the mangroves. These are actually what the mangroves provide us that enables us to live, to sustain, to eat. Yeah. So that's why, this is also one of the explanation. And just to also bring you through again, the reason why we actually ask you the questions at the beginning. What do you feel about mangroves? What do you like about mangroves? What do you dislike about mangroves? And what you state was very, very typical of Malaysians. It is not right and it is not wrong. But then the question comes to, what can I do? Yeah. Many of us would want to save the world, but then we forget before we can save the world, we must save ourselves first. Yeah. And what's in the country. So know what you like, know what is your strength before you actually get involved and support a conservation initiative. In this case, the mangrove. If you don't like go into the mangroves, don't force yourself to go into the mangrove unless it is a challenge for you to change your emotion towards it. Because if that experience is going to backfire you, you will actually give you a negative experience and you won't want to have anything to do. So if you're good in IT, share about mangroves. Why is it so important? Some of you are living in the mangroves, yeah, like Zulnizam, you are in the mangroves, near mangroves. So share your experience, how is mangrove like? What do I do, with mangroves, so that other people can see and read it, yeah? But if you like that adventure, by all means, go ahead and explore, because nature is really the best teacher of all. Yeah. But if you love drawing, draw about mangroves and tell the story of mangroves. So what can I do? Choose it based on your strength. Choose it based on your capability. But everyone must do something, because when everybody do a little bit of of conserving acts for nature, it will come to a lot. It's just like, sedikit-sedikit, lama-lama menjadi bukit. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Evelyn and Dr. Sheena. So we have another question. This one is from Muhammad Hafiz. His question is, if you were to choose between developing a mangrove forest for the local benefits, for example, building constructions for the locals, or preserving the mangrove forest, what factors should be taken into consideration? What's your opinion on this?
Sheena, would you like to go?
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
sure. All right, Muhammad Hafiz, thank you for your question. So your question was Hafiz's question was if you were to choose between developing a mangrove forest, for example, building construction for the locals, or preserving the mangrove forest. Macam soalan debat pula, ya. Okay, what factors should be taken into consideration and what's your opinion on this? All right, so my opinion is that for any decisions, okay, that we make when it comes to development, we need to take into consideration many factors, yeah. So it's not only like preserving the mangrove, okay. Of course, it's we need to conserve or preserve mangrove forests. Okay, a lot of factors are taken into consideration, such as we use our environmental impact assessment, okay, and then we use some guidelines of how buildings can be developed, okay, near mangroves area. We have certain guidelines on that, and then we also see the habitats, okay, the habitats and also the biodiversity of that place, okay, taken into consideration. And then most importantly, we also take into consideration the local communities' opinions, okay, the local communities' opinions of what they think, okay, if an area is being developed. Okay, so that's very some of the factors that are very important that should be taken into consideration. All right.
Thank you, Dr. Sheena. So we have another question from Nurin Batrisha. So she asked how we as teenagers can participate in conservation activities like penanaman semula pokok.
Well, I think that that question is more directed to Malaysian Nature Society. All right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Doctor, please continue.
Yeah. Please welcome Zalika. Maybe you have some inputs since Malaysian Nature Society is one of the important NGOs, okay, and they provide activities such as conservation activities. But maybe Zalika, you want to respond?
Okay. So for students who are actually interested to participate in our tree plantings program, we do have a few tree plantings, but please visit our Facebook page and also our website, Malaysian Nature Society. We have like on-off tree plantings, not only for mangroves area, but also in the other tropical other forest area also. Okay, so please visit us and also get our updates in the Facebook and website. So jadi kita actually we have a few tree plantings area. For example, if you are in Kerteh or Terengganu area, we have a EcoCare who is actually manage all these tree plantings activities. And also in Selangor, we have one in Kuala Selangor Nature Park. So if you like to visit and see the mangroves area and forest, please go to our nature park, Kuala Selangor Nature Park, yeah. And you can also take part in their tree plantings activity. Okay, I think yes, I think I share enough, Doctor. Anything on your side?
From our university side, we also have some activities, okay, tree planting activities that is organized by our faculty, but it is more like an not what do you call that, Evelyn? It is just like once a year activity, I would say. Okay, and it's more of invitation to other schools. So I think like if tree planting activities for the whole Malaysia, you can refer to NGOs such as MNS, yeah, like what Miss Zalika has explained just now.
Okay. Thank you, Doctor. So we have another question. This one is from Stella Lee Jinol, SMK Adase. So her question is, do you think mangrove trees can replace this power source one day?
Power source, does it mean in terms of coal? The use of coal? Can I clarify that?
Stella Lee, if you are here, maybe you want to briefly explain the questions.
Okay. Right. Maybe I just answer first based on my understanding. Yeah. Okay. I don't think mangroves can ever replace the power source one day, because we really one is actually conservation. Two is we don't have enough of the resources. In fact, our main power source in the country is actually hydro. Yeah, so that is our main power source in the country. So mangrove trees to replace power source? No. Based on my understanding to the question, if I answered you correctly. Okay.
Yeah, she explained over here, she mentioned over here bahan bakar.
Yes, yeah. And I think if we are moving all towards reducing carbon footprint, using coal, it's not a recommended alternative. All right. In fact, now globally, they are talking about blue carbons, where countries which are producing a lot of carbons, into the atmosphere, they have to pay a certain amount, a certain amount of fee to actually, to release the carbon, or they have to actually replace, not replace in a sense that they have to menggantikan the carbon that they produce with probably conservation X to pay back forward, to reduce their carbon footprint. So that is something what we call the blue carbon at the moment. Blue carbon refers to marine and also mangrove. Green carbon refers to the forest land areas. Okay, that's what they are talking about now.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. I think we don't have any more questions here. Did I miss anything? Wait, let me check if I missed any of the questions in the chat box. Okay. Yes, Doctor, I think as for now, we don't have any more questions. Students, any more questions? Attendees, to all attendees today. Yes, Doctor. Sorry, Doctor.
Isaac have given us information. Isaac Leftwing, he said that pengangkap laut juga salah satu NGO untuk penjagaan alam sekitar, terutamanya penanaman bakau. Ini salah satu United Nations Sustainable Development Goal in SDG 14 and SDG 15. Thank you.
Thank you, Isaac.
I guess in terms of conservation, you know, we are actually free to do what other conservation behavior or activities that contributes towards the environment. We shouldn't be so sad if we cannot do something big, because one of the mistakes we observe is that we are so enthusiastic that we want to do something big, but then we actually fail to sustain because it is so big, the effort. It could be in terms of time consuming, it could be in terms of cost is so high. Then when we are faced with a certain kesusahan, you know, or difficulty, it actually push us back and we end up not doing it. So the best way to make sure that you create a habit of consistency in terms of doing green acts and initiative is by starting small, and you slowly develop into doing something big. So in the past 2 webinars, you see a lot of people asking, what's the connection between rubbish, you know, how do I, by throwing a rubbish into the dustbin, can help the mangrove? What is the connection? Okay, the connection is if we throw rubbish into the dustbin, the chances of it being properly managed, the waste being properly managed is higher, and then we won't see this rubbish in the mangroves. So like the picture where we see mangroves are wasteland, so we won't see our slippers, our plastics, our mattresses all in that area, because knowing very well, sometimes these rubbish or waste are actually brought by other places, and it is not by the local community, but it is because of people who are being irresponsible, throwing it. The water brings it to another place and pollutes another place, and the community is then affected. Again, their livelihood would be affected, you know, the well-being, all and tahap kesihatan all can be affected as well. So that's why it is so important to begin with me, what I can do by doing the right thing, and be a role model to the rest before trying to engage into something big. Yeah, all right. But if you can do more than that, by all means, okay?
In fact, if you can just share on your social medias about mangrove conservation, what is important, okay, it would be good enough. Yeah, especially when we are stuck at home now, we cannot go anywhere. So I think that is the best, some of the behaviors that we can do, all right, to spread the word, the awareness about the conservation of mangroves.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Sheena and Dr. Evelyn. Okay, now we will have now it's already 4:13, so I think that after this, Dr. Evelyn will like to announce about the competition. For those who already for those who want to send more questions, you can just put in the chat box, and later on we will let Drs. Evelyn and Dr. Sheenas answer it by email, and also we'll post it in our Facebook page as well. So yes, maybe some of the questions that I missed, I'm very sorry, but don't worry, because these questions we will raise it up soon, and then it's either we will send you by email or we will send it through Facebook page. Okay, now we are, before we go to the next agenda, we would like to inform to all students to all students that we already distribute the questions. We already put in our link for the survey form, for Dr. Shina's survey form, and also for the attendance form. So please fill in the attendance form for you to receive the e-certificate. And thank you again, Dr. Shinas and Dr. Evelyn, for a very good presentation, nice presentation, and also for answering all the students' questions. And yes, before we go, before we end the session, Dr. Evelyn has an announcement to make for those who want to participate in the essay competition. Just to inform you again, this essay competition is recognized by the Ministry of Kementerian Pendidikan Malaysia. Jadi mohon pada semua students boleh join participate in this essay untuk menerima sijil pemakahan. Okay, mungkin Dr. Evelyn, you want to continue?
Okay, thank you, Zalika. All right, as what Puan Zalika has mentioned, today we will be announcing one of the competition that we are organizing for as part of the initiative of the Mangrove Education Program. Yeah, so we will have two competition, but today we will be only announcing the essay writing competition lah, or pertandingan menulis essay. Yeah. All right, so this is open to all participants who have attended and registered. Yeah, your attendance right from the first webinar to today. So anyone can actually join. Yeah, and this is the details. These are the details. Yeah, of the competition. So the topic or the theme, yeah, for this competition is writing an essay on the importance of mangroves to the community. Yeah, because mangroves are important to the community in various aspects. Yeah, depending on what is the environment like, what is the culture like, what is the social composition like. Yeah, maybe like for Sabah, you know, the questions they ask is really coal the way forward in terms of power, because coal is an important source of energy, yeah, as compared to hydro. But in Peninsular Malaysia, hydro is an important aspect. So what is the importance of mangrove to the community that you are talking about? You are free to write the essay. Okay, so the duration is from today right up to 15 October. So we are giving you a longer time so that you can actually think about it and then think about your plans, what you want to write, and write it out. All right. And this is an individual category, individual submission. Number of entries is 1 per student, and your length should not be more than 300 words. Yeah. Tidak melebihi 300 patah perkataan. You are free to either write in BM or in English. Okay, whichever is comfortable to you. And then how do you participate? Yeah. So once you have written your essay, you can go into, sign into the Google form and write your details and upload your essay into the Google form, right? So your document can either be in PDF or Word document, less than 10 MB, yeah? And please remember, your essay must be original. The best is always writing from your own personal experience, okay? And originality is very important. We strongly discourage copy and paste, okay? So if you find any copy and paste, then that will be disqualified, all right? Okay, so we will be announcing the winners, yeah, at the end of October, all right? So at the end of October, you would know whether you have won or not. So the prizes will be in terms of barangan sagu hati or merchandise items worth the value as stated here, first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. And all entries, whether you win or you do not, all are appreciated and all has its value, and everyone will receive an e-certificate as long as you fit into the terms and conditions that we have stated just now. Okay, so for you to get the borang pendaftaran, I will be copy and pasting it onto the chat in a while. Yeah. So what is it about mangrove quiz or quiz alam semula jadi bakau? Please remember, join us in our next webinar on 6 October 2021, our very last webinar. And this will be teaching you about using robotics in the conservation of mangroves. And that is when we will reveal to you what is the quiz or mangrove quiz all about. All right? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kinau. And lastly, before we end this seminar, I think that we are at the end of our webinar sessions. So everyone, thank you again for joining us today for our third webinar. As Dr. Ibli mentioned, please join us for the next one on 6 October on Wednesday as well. So please join us. I'll share this link again for the next sessions to join the webinars. And before we end, everyone, we want to take a picture. So please turn on your video so that I can take all the pictures. Okay, so we have 4 frames now. So I'm in frame 1. Okay, frame 1, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. And another frame number 2. Frame number 2, no one's turn on the video. Frame number 2. Okay, boleh buka video. Number 3. Okay. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you again to Dr. Sheena, Dr. Evelyn, and also Izati for the talk today. So if you have any questions, please just jot down your questions here down below in the chat box. And I think that's all for today. So we hope to see you again next time. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye and take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you and bye-bye.
Untuk kamera. Thank you, Puan Jalika. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you.
Termiss pula apa
group picture punya session. Internet is tak stable lah. Anyway,
Yeah.
good job ya. Line
Thank
sikit
you.
interaktif hari ni ya.
Yeah, today's line a bit macam unstable lah, mine pun.
Itulah I pun memang baik kali lah tadi meeting pengurusan pun sama juga.
Not sure kenapa hari ni.
Tapi mujur, tapi waktu you all yalah tadi okey je kan, tak ada terkeluar ke apa kan? Yang banyak terkeluar.
Zalika, can you off Facebook Live punya ni session?
Okay. Thank you, Sashi. Yeah.